Hello, everyone, and welcome to Online Presenters. We are an advanced Toastmasters Club that accelerates online presentation and leadership skills. Tonight's theme is school days. Wow, back in the days. But you know what? I'm a lifelong learner, and I'm sure many of you are too. To our guest, we're delighted you're here this evening. If you'd like to become a member, membership in Online Presenters is open to current or former Toastmasters who have completed at least 6 speeches. However, experienced presenters may also apply after delivering a short demonstration speech. All applications are subject to approval by our club members. We are a global club with members joining from many countries around the world. Please be mindful of language and cultural sensitivity as we support one another's growth as communicators and leaders. A few housekeeping rules. This meeting is being recorded. If you prefer not to be included, please check the chat for opt-out instructions. And kindly mute your microphone when you are not speaking. Tonight, we have lots of great speakers and evaluators, and it's a wonderful opportunity to learn as if we are in school. So now, please help me welcome to the virtual stage our club president, Joni Laidlaw. Welcome, Joni.
Thank you, Sunny, for that warm introduction. Today, we're going to find out if it's school days or was it school days. We've all had our own special experiences, and in a way, education works in many forms and many ways. One of the things we have here at Online Presenters is also the opportunity to educate yourself and gain some edification in the ways of your speaking skills. In Jamaica, we have a phrase that says encouragement sweetens labor. And because of that, whenever somebody's doing an excellent job and striving on their path, we want to big them up. Don't worry, I'll translate. Want to make them feel good, give them a pat on the shoulder. And today, our Vice President of Education will be doing just that for one of our members who has completed not one, but 2 levels. Over to you, Graham, to big her up.
Hey, well, congratulations. As I say, it is always important when you see that people have achieved new levels. And I should, in fact, I intended to print out certificates for Marianne Grady, but unfortunately didn't. Well, my printer's playing up, but that's no excuse. I could do it as PDF, but I haven't either. Marianne completed 2 levels recently, and I believe they're the levels, were they the levels 1 and 2 in dynamic leadership or the levels 3 and 4 in effective coaching? Marianne, neither of those? Have I got the wrong person?
1 and 2 in dynamic
1 and 2
leadership.
in dynamic leadership. Look, to achieve a single level is an achievement. That's why it's called an achievement. But to achieve 2, and to achieve 2 quite quickly, is something that this club should be really proud of for Marianne. What Marianne has done is she's completed those 2 levels, which between them I think are 6, 9 or perhaps 10 different projects. It's a big ask, but also she has awarded the credits to this club to help in our bid to become a distinguished club, a select distinguished club, or perhaps even a president's distinguished club. I don't think we're going to make Smedley, because that means we have to have 25 members, but she has certainly helped us achieve our goals, and she is achieving her goals as she does. So everybody, please unmute and congratulate Marianne Grady on levels 1 and 2 of her dynamic leadership path. Well done.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Madam President, and she's done a terrific job. So thank you for those. Now back to you.
Thank you, Graham. With that, we're going to move into our meeting today. Now, she's an educator, so be careful what you say about the school system. It may hit a bit close to home, but I can tell you I was in a daze. So I'm going to say in advance, I love Susie, but no offense. Please make her feel welcome as she takes us through today. Help me welcome Annie Martin.
Thank you.
Remember the days of the old schoolyard? We used to cry a lot. Oh, don't you remember the days of the old schoolyard? When
Don't you remember the days at the old schoolyard? Hands up who knows that song. Some of you. Hey, there we go. Formerly Cat Stevens, great song. Been in my head all night. I thought, yes, we've got to start with that. Schools have been around for a long time. They've been around in ancient times and thought to go back to ancient Mesopotamia over 4,000 years ago. I don't quite know how very clever people work things like that out. But anyway, they have existed in some form or other, it is thought, for thousands upon thousands of years, and believed to be called, in ancient Mesopotamia, tablet houses, where boys used to go, not girls, as you would maybe imagine, and they used to learn to write on tablets and use numbers and to behave themselves. Now, that might have been a hard task to get those boys to behave themselves. And different countries clearly have done different things within schooling. But back in ancient times, the Egyptians trained scribes. The Greeks taught philosophy, we would imagine. And the Chinese perfected numbers and high achievement. And in modern times, which is where we're going to get to right now, schools are varied. And I began this, when I was thinking about what to talk about, by thinking, I could talk about the variety in Australia. And then I thought, what am I thinking? This is an international club. And later I'll be just showing some pictures of, not now, but later in the meeting, of the variety, incredible variety around the world of schooling. And I do love this about an international club because it continues to broaden my horizon from just little old Australia. So yeah, every country does things very differently and every school does something differently. And now I'm going to put on my principal's hat and say, yes, I've worked as a school principal. I did it for 5 years. Best job I ever had, most difficult job I ever had, because schools are like a micro society, and they're a society where everybody believes they know what should happen in a school because they went to school or because their children went to school. And so teachers and principals are constantly bombarded by people saying, schools should do this, schools should do that. It is an occupational hazard. Maybe it's something that you don't think about if you're not in education, but schools should add that to their curriculum. Okay, what do they take out? That might be enough of my rant for right now. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why Toastmasters is like school, because we're always learning. We listen to speeches like we're listening to the teacher talk. We sometimes interrupt. No, not at Online Presenters. We all would. But we do, in schools, we've got different roles. And maybe just have a quick think about the role that you might have had. Were you a high achiever or a goody two-shoes or a rebel or a class clown, or what exactly were you? So we do take roles that we had in school days, DAYS or DAZE, depending how we found it. And we do have roles in Toastmasters. And that leads me on to the roles that we're having today and a very quick explanation of what they're going to be. We've had some juggling of roles, so fingers crossed I've got it right here. Grammarian will be Marianne Grady. Just really quickly, Marianne, tell us what you're going to do in 20 seconds or less. What about that?
I will be listening very carefully to our speakers and reporters and letting you all know about grammatical gems and some faux pas. I'll report later. Thank you.
Thank you. And the word of the day is?
Edification.
Edification. And it means? It means the moral.
The meaning.
The moral or intellectual instruction or improvement of someone. Edification. So see if you can weave that in. Our timer will be Andre. Very briefly, Andre.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. In edification of our meeting, I will be a timer. My role is simple, timing speeches. We have prepared speeches today. We have 2 One is for Graham, will be same 8 to 10 minutes. So 8, it will be 9, 10, and for Johnny 5 to 7. 5 minutes, 6, 7. Similar things will be for table topics 1 to 2 minutes and evaluation 2 to 3 minutes. And I will keep it in chat. Back to
Thank
you.
you very much. We're in capable hands, Andre. Our counter will be Joni.
The edification of the speaking process actually counts at being better at not realizing or noticing your crutch words, what other people do. At Online Presenters, today as our counter, I will be making notes of the ums, the ers, the ahs, the awkward pauses, the buts, all of the stitching that we like to do on clothes for the sewing. That way we can improve our speaking skills. Back to you, Annie.
Thank you, Joni. And our watcher will be Sherry Blake.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So I am going to be watching you. But now, if you were watching me, you saw that I went off camera for a couple seconds, but I'm back. So I'm going to just be watching everyone, seeing what you're doing, how you're reacting to things, making sure that you're paying attention. Back to you, Annie.
Thank you, Sherry. Our vote counter will now be not David Carr because he has had to leave. Do we have somebody who is techie enough to do that or happy to do it the old-fashioned way?
I'm signed up for it, but I'm having some trouble with the technical tool that somebody else wants to do it.
I was thinking we could do it the old-fashioned way and send it to him via direct chat.
To Jim Barber? Wonderful. So at the time when we are voting, I will instruct people to make sure they're not sending a message publicly to everyone, but just to Jim Barber about who they are voting for, whether it is best speaker, best evaluator, or best table topic. Thank you, Jim, for taking on that role. We will have our topics master, Andy Byrne. Just briefly, what are you going to do there for us?
A topic master controls and curates special questions going out to the members, including the guests, if they so desire, and you respond to those questions or topics with 1 to 2 minute responses. At 1 minute, you have the green. Midway through, you have the yellow. And at 2 minutes, you get the red with a 30-second grace. And since it is March 23rd, you may have some topics that relate to the change in spring that occurs in many places, or in the case of Down Under, the change to winter, I suppose.
Correct, indeed. And yes, we have our chat monitor. Dr. Sunny, tell us what you're going to be doing.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. I'll be serving as your chat monitor. My role, keep an eye out on the chat, note the most helpful, encouraging, and sometimes humorous contributions throughout the meeting. Now, that might include links to useful resources, thoughtful comments that support a speaker, or even a lighthearted observation that captures the spirit of the moment. Now, when I'm called upon later in the meeting, I'll provide a brief 1-minute report and I'll highlight the most noteworthy items. And also, please don't hesitate to do a little edification as you hype it up in the chat. Back to you.
I love that. Dr. Sunny is so clever to keep bringing in that word of the day too. Do remember the word of the day. But now it is time for our first lesson. Our first lesson of the day, we have a guest teacher coming in for us. Her name is Alison Blakeman, and she is going to be giving us the classroom. We need to be well behaved, please, because Alison, well, she could be a pretty strict taskmaster, we will see, and she will be giving us the tip of the day. Over to you, Alison.
Righty. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests. And Madam Toastmaster of the Day, I'm trying to share my screen, but it tells me that I cannot share because another participant is sharing. Is it possible for me to be able to share my screen?
Yeah, Annie's sharing right now.
I'm going to pause my time.
Annie needs to turn off her share for you to share it.
Okay. Can you stop sharing, Annie? Is that
You're
possible?
muted, Annie. Toastmaster.
I've turned it off, Alison. Is that okay?
Okay. It's still telling me you cannot share while the other participant is sharing.
Yeah, I'm seeing your screen share showing up as well.
Yeah, it says computer audio is being shared, Annie.
Okay.
Oh, I think it just went away. Did it?
Yes,
Yes, it did. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. All right, fellow Toastmasters. As a professional online presenter in my day job, Monday through Friday, sometimes overnight, sometimes weekends, sometimes holidays, can you see my screen? Can anyone not see my screen?
We
I
can
see a
see
lot of
your
head
screen.
You haven't hit share yet, Allison.
Oh,
But
I
I'm
didn't.
seeing your SharePoint.
Oh, aha.
Well,
Anna,
we're
can
actually
you-
seeing your screen, but what we are
Yes.
seeing is application window, screen to snipping tool, etc.
Snipping tool.
You need
Yes.
to hear.
Yes. Hi,
Hear sentence, hear Zoom.
I'm seeing who is on their toes. This is an image. This is an image. As an online presenter presenting in Zoom, you need to be very, very, very familiar with this screen, because a pet peeve of mine in my day job, I join conference calls. The thing that I hear everyone say is, can everyone see my screen? As a professional, I hate that, because I want to say, dude, you're a professional. You should know how to screen share. So I started saying, can anyone not see my screen? That's what I asked them. Can you not see my screen? Because as a professional, my audience should expect me to know how to present to my audience. So I changed my vocabulary. Can anyone not see my screen? What that shows is assertiveness on my part that I'm confident in my presentation abilities. Zoom offers free versions. Every online presenter should have a free version of Zoom that gives you up to 45 minutes of meetings. If nothing else, to master your craft of online presenting. Learn how to share. Learn that you can share from screen 1 or screen 2. Learn that you can share from a slide presentation. Learn the tools. Learn over here on the right-hand side that you can share content only. You can change it as your background, over the shoulder, or you can do side by side. Learn that so you'll appear to be more professional. Now, the second lesson I'm going to teach you today is Microsoft PowerPoint and presentations. Okay. I see a lot of times people sharing their slide just like the screen you're seeing. They're sharing this slide to me. Well, I can see all their slide decks. I can see all of their options. Now, sometimes we get latency. How do you set up a PowerPoint presentation to present online in Zoom? Right here, set up slideshow. You see that option? Click it.
We're not seeing it. Okay, now we are. Okay.
Yes, now you are. Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank
virtual
you.
disclaimer.
Yep, thank you. You see the setup slideshow, Dr. Sunny? Yes, okay. So it gives you a couple different options. I want to select browse by an individual window. Okay, you can do some slow options, show options here. And then I want to advance my slides manually. I want to show all the slides. Now, the resolution. I'm presenting on Zoom. I'm not presenting in person in a conference room. If I was doing that, I would use the slowest and highest quality to present on a projector or screen in a conference room, the best quality image. But because I'm presenting on Zoom, I want to go down here to about 700 by 576. Now I've set it up. I go to click from the beginning. Now here's this nice little window. In the other screen, I would just share this one window. And then I would either use my little hand clicker or my mouse to advance through the slides. That way, my audience does not see my entire Outlook or whatever presentation software I'm using. They don't see the whole window. It looks professional on the screen. Now, as an online presenter, what else do? I go over to my other screen. And sometimes I do it very craftily by grabbing the box without looking, that I'm not doing right now, but I'm actually looking. I grab the box and I drag it all onto the screen. So everything's right here. Now the bonus tip. Get a lot of compliments sometimes that it says, Allie, you're a master at presenting online. Sorry, toot my own horn there, apologize. They said, it never looks like you're reading from a slide. How do you do that? Because I move my slides and my information right there, right below my webcam. So I'm looking like I'm talking to Graham or Annie, but actually my eyes can see my notes below. So while I'm talking to people, I'm actually glancing down every once in a while at my bullet points or my notes, and craftily, while I use my left hand, I take my right hand and I slide down to the next slide, and it gives a great online presentation. That is my demonstration for your edification today. I hope that helps you to improve your online presentations. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you to our guest teacher today. My gosh, I just wish that I had taken notes in that, because when I'm going to do a PowerPoint, I'm not going to be right up there with what our guest teacher today has told us, but I'll see if I can't let that soak in. And you really have added to all of our knowledge. Thank you so much. Now it is time for a wonderful part of the meeting, which is where we get to hear the prepared speeches. And our first speaker is going to be Graham Cairns. Just before I do introduce him, his evaluator is going to be Kritika. Are you ready to be his evaluator?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Don't be too hard on him. Kind. I know you will, because we're all learning here, even Toastmasters who are as seasoned as Graham. We're all learning. And today he is going to give us a speech from Effective Coaching. It's level 4, building skills, and the project is improvement through positive coaching. This will be his final speech in level 4. And here he's going to discuss the benefits of coaching. And it's a two-way benefit, both for those being coached and for those who do the coaching. Sounds like a win-win to me. Win-wins are always the best kind of victory, I always say. Graham's timing for Andre will be 8 to 10 minutes, as you are aware. And I think we can now hand the virtual stage over to Graham Cairns with his speech called Coaching, Karma, and Carrying the Torch. Graham Cairns.
Thank you, Toastmaster Annie, Toastmasters, friends. One of the guilty pleasures that my wife and I share is watching dash cam videos, those recordings from in-car or in-truck cameras that show the egregiously bad driving of motorists around the world. And there's a specific subgenre of dashcam videos, often referred to as instant karma, where someone does something wrong and gets punished by the universe almost immediately. Drive down the emergency stopping lane just to get past the other cars? Nope, there are cops waiting to pull you up. Cut somebody off aggressively? You go into an uncontrolled spin and hit a traffic barrier. You get the point. Instant karma. But quite frankly, that is a complete misunderstanding of karma, as is the idea that I should do things so that karma will reward me. That's not how it works, or at least it is at best an incomplete understanding of the concept of karma. In Buddhist and Hindu belief, the universal view of karma is that the universe wants to be balanced, so good deeds and thoughts will be rewarded in this life or a future one, and bad deeds or thoughts will be punished. That's the universal view. But there's another more nuanced view, call it the personal view of karma, where intentional actions of body or speech or mind bring positive experiences in their train, and bad actions bring negative experiences. An example is giving food and money to monks and nuns. This generosity makes me happy because my generosity has brought me into connection with the community. On the other hand, fiddling my taxes or stealing stationery from my work makes me less happy because of the anxiety that it creates within me. Buddhist ethics is based on the axiom that actions have consequences. But a good action is one that has good consequences for everyone and not just for oneself. There's a similar school of thought in Western philosophy. I've described it before as enlightened self-interest, which is also known as doing well by doing good. Now, this isn't just ordinary self-interest, the action of doing something because it benefits you. That's also known as greed or selfishness. Now, I'm talking about enlightened self-interest. So what is enlightened self-interest, and what's that got to do with coaching? Well, enlightened self-interest is the idea that if you act in the interests of others, you benefit yourself. It's different from altruism, which involves doing things to benefit other people without thinking about it and without getting any benefits. And it's also very different from the bastard stepchild of altruism and greed, objectivism. Now, enlightened self-interest is the philosophy that by benefiting our community, we make that community a better and more productive place to be, and that's a benefit for us at the same time. We benefit because we serve. Let's say you decide to assist a fellow club member in Toastmasters, or maybe a less experienced workmate. I told you I'd get to coaching. Altruism says you should do that because they need skills. I have skills. I should help them just because I can. And that's fine. But enlightened self-interest says my workplace, my Toastmasters Club, my community, they will all be better if I do this, and I will benefit from that improvement. I'm not doing it so that I benefit, but I recognize that I get the benefit by doing this. But enlightened self-interest goes even further than that. It says the act of taking on the role of trainer or coach or mentor has benefits in and of itself. So what are they? Well, hands up here anyone who aspires to be in middle management, perhaps a supervisor, online manager in your plant, in your office, a leader in your club. Show of hands, anyone who wants to lead other people? You don't? Well, why are you here? No, you get the point. Let me let you in on a secret. The skill set that you learn as a mentor or a coach, say in a Toastmasters club, that translates directly into the skills you need to do those positions. Assisting people of various competencies to become more competent, guiding people through a period of change, pointing out the flaws of talking the talk but not walking the walk. They all benefit. And here's the thing. While you are assisting a protege to grow and develop, you are continuing to grow and develop yourself. Let's use in Toastmasters evaluation as an example. Delivering a good evaluation not only helps the speaker grow, it makes you reflect on what works and on what doesn't work. And so you personally get benefits from delivering a good evaluation. The same applies in everything that you do. Enlightened self-interest means that we ourselves get benefits because we're stepping up to the plate. In the workplace, in your church or temple, at other social or community organizations, heck, even in the family, there are skills that are all too sadly, all too often missing. But if we've got those skills and we share that knowledge, if we coach, then we can help fill that gap. We also reinforce ourselves with an innate knowledge of what works and what doesn't. You get a stronger community, you get a more efficient workplace, you get a better church fellowship, a better family. You certainly get a better Toastmasters club by coaching and mentoring those around you. But most of all, you get a better you. And that's an aim that we should all be on board with. 25, 30 years ago, there was a novel which was turned into a movie starring Haley Joel Osment and Helen Hunt and Kevin Spacey. It was called Pay It Forward. And the movie itself was pretty hokey, I've got to tell you. But it did introduce the concept of enlightened self-interest to a lot of people. The idea that if you're given a favor or a benefit, instead of paying back your benefactor, you should pay it forward, assist maybe 3 other people, because that will make the world a better place. That means that a single act of kindness can blossom and bloom, and your community gets better and you get better as a result. Have you benefited from the enlightened self-interest of someone in your life, a mentor, a trainer, a friend, a coach? Then maybe you should think about doing the same. Reach out to those around you. Do something to help your community, to help your workplace, to help your Toastmasters Club. Do it for their benefit and for your own. Toastmaster Annie.
Thank you very much, Graham. Enlightened self-interest. And absolutely, doesn't Toastmasters help in every aspect of the workplace or other aspects of life? I was so fortunate when I began as a principal. I had worked there for the first year, very hard. And then at the beginning of my second year, I started Toastmasters. And I used to call it, only to myself, because it was a secret, I used to call it my secret weapon. So I didn't tell any of the staff that I was doing that, but I was like, how come I'm sort of getting better at speaking to the staff? And how come I'm getting better when there are, performance reviews, at actually talking to people about what they did well and what maybe they could improve, and then what they did well again. So all of those Toastmaster skills, particularly evaluation, help us in all kinds of ways. Wonderful speech. Enjoyed it so much. Thank you, Graham. Now time for our second speaker, and that's going to be Joni Laidlaw. Joni, your evaluator is Marianne. Marianne, you set to go for this one?
I am.
Great, thank you very much. This speech is from Visionary Communication Level 1, Mastering Fundamentals. And the project is about vocal variety and body language. It says an introduction to, but I'm sure Joni has done these sort of speeches before, but nonetheless, we'll just go straight to it. It's about vocal variety and body language. And her speech is called The Institutionalization of Education. Over to you, Joni.
Everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. Now, this is actually a phrase that's attributed to Albert Einstein, but technically it wasn't. It's a misquote, but nobody knew or knows who actually was the originator of such a thought-provoking comment. But I'll also give you another quote that I really love. And this one is from somebody we all know and that we've heard multiple times over and over and over again. But repetition is how we learn. Ralph C. Smedley said, "We learn best in moments of enjoyment. After all, happiness is what gives us edification." Now, the real problem with our education system is that, get this, it tests memorization skills, not actually learning or intelligence, not even progress over time, if I were being honest. You get a grade and you have to be perfect. 100% is the goal. We want perfection. Now, as somebody who is perfectly imperfect, I can't say my aim was never to hit perfection, but always to achieve what I could, to understand what I understood of a concept, and to be able to demonstrate to my teacher that I don't get it, I don't understand, and I don't think I ever will. I don't think my teachers appreciated that very much, just like I don't think they appreciated the fact that, well, miss, I always happen to have an opinion. Contrary, a bit weird, a bit different, but me, miss, I know. No, Joni, that's not the way that we taught you. Yes, but that was the way I understood it. My report cards tended to have a lot of, she spoke too much in class, which basically meant if there was ever anybody who is going to say something contrary, it would be her. Now, was I in a daze from school? I let everybody in on a little secret. I had one class where before the class would start, the entire form would be laughing, all my classmates. Look at Joni, what is she doing? I'd be roaming the school compound looking for a desk or at least a chair to make sure I was prepared for class. I know everybody's wondering because I see the confusion on your face, Andrew, Kari, Cherry, you're wondering, huh? You have a desk and a chair. Why would you be walking around looking for one? The class would start. I would sit there, determined that today I was going to be a good student. My religious education teacher would say something, and I would hold it. I will not respond. Okay, I'm doing well. Just breathe, we'll make it through this. Then, Miss Laidlaw, can you please answer the, no, I was gonna make it. But I was asked a question. So I gave an answer, get out of my class this instant. Who's laughing now, fellow classmates, when I took my seat, which was previously prepared because I knew that was where I was going to be. Now, am I saying that being argumentative as a student was a good thing? No. Am I stating that disrupting class was a good thing? No. But there was another report card that was sent out, and on it, a parent said, the teacher said my child talks too much. So they put them next to somebody who was nonverbal. Oh no, my child is going to get in trouble. But that's not what happened. What happened was the nonverbal child started to talk. It was a teacher who took a child who had extra words to share and placed them next to someone who wasn't sure how to find theirs. And they allowed them to speak. I was always told I was headstrong, but being headstrong might just mean that you have your own way of formulating or creating an opinion. The important thing when it comes to learning, you see, is actually the progress that you make over time. And we've learned in many ways over many millennia in many different ways. What's the difference? Institutionalization. See, institutionalization refers to two main distinct processes: the incorporation of ideas or behaviors into established social system and the long-term placement of individuals into a facility, hence an institution. We stamp the barcode on everybody because we have outcomes, we have metrics, and every teacher will tell you there's a syllabus and things to attain. But the thing about it is that when it comes to doing this though, what are we taking from our children? I'm all for socialization and learning, but how are we using the different methods allotted to enhance what's already there? How do we provide when preparation meets practice? How do we ensure that they're not burnt out, that they're overused, that they're overdone? The point is not to actually put them on a conveyor belt to turn them into a can of a person. The aim is always to remember that everybody is a genius and it is about finding your brilliance. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Joni. Everybody is a genius. It's about finding it. Joni, we're so glad that you were naughty in school because we reckon that you learned to think outside of the box, and that's why you're such. Huh? She's going to say something there. Learn to think outside of the box, which is why she's such a great president of this club, because she's full of creative ideas and encourages them. It is now time for the timer. Just in the chat, you've done it. Thank you so much. Both speakers are within time because do remember Graham's was an 8 to 10 minute speech. So can you please vote for who you thought did the better speech of the day? But do remember it is a personal message to Jim Barber. So go to the chat and start typing in GE because that's the beginning of what is written on his screen, and you will check that it's Jim and then send in your vote to him. I will do that in myself because I will just give me 1 second. Right.
Or you
Mine
can
is
go
done.
to Jim's picture, click on the corner and pull down the chat and it'll go directly to him.
Great. Thanks, Andy. That's fantastic. Okay, I am going to.
Just while you're looking for your screen, when you do go and send a message to Jim, don't forget to then take it back to everyone, or otherwise every comment that you make after that point will get sent to Jim, and he doesn't need all of them.
Right.
I know, because I do that all the time.
Yeah. Okay. We all do it differently. Anybody can't see that. We all do it differently. A little quick look around the world. Why not? Because we're an international club. Let's see. I'm going to put myself right in the classroom in a minute. And we're going to France. Did you know? Woohoo, in France. Eating well. Eating is part of the curriculum. How good is that? All students, well, no, I'm sure this is a gross generalization, but in general, the French culture value eating, food preparation, trying different foods, even from a very young age. Students are encouraged to do this. It's supervised. They have a long break for a meal because we know how much the French revere their food, and it begins right there in education. So one of the things that the French do differently. Let's go now to we're going to India or Japan, where they get the children to clean the classrooms. What a great idea. And it starts from a very young age, from these little guys up here, and it continues. And I've worked most of my career in special ed, students who may be nonverbal or whatever. And absolutely, we were terribly big on very practical things like learning to sweep the floor, because it not only teaches you to sweep the floor, but maybe teaches you to drop less things on the floor as well. So, and here we have Japan, a very tidy culture in general. They don't drop much litter. They learn it from school. This is an environmentally interesting school, and it's in the Philippines, and it's made entirely out of recycled bottles. It's innovative. It's ecologically sound. There's just 3 materials, which is recycled bottles and cement, and there's some steel. The bottles are tied together with nylon, and they stack them up. And that is an actual school in the Philippines. And here we go to Lucknow in India. This is the Montessori school, thought to be, well, back in 2023, biggest school in the world. Across 21 campuses, 61,000 students in Lucknow. Wow. And the best of all, and the final school today that I'm showing you, and this is in Colombia. And here, the students get to zip line on their way to work, on their way to school, I mean, on their way to edification. And I reckon of all the schools, that's me there up on the zip line, and that is what I would like to do. Okay, it is now time for us to move right along to our the part of the school lesson, I guess, where people get to make it up as they go, shout out their answers as they go, the rowdy part of our school day. And Dr. Andrew Byrne is going to lead us through that as our topics master. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you. Table topics is for the ability to think on your feet, to generate cohesive thoughts, to edify all those that you're working with for the day. We also have a change just a few days ago, and spring was on our calendar in the Northern Hemisphere, and you have just the opposite in the Southern Hemisphere. So the first question that I have is, who remembers their spring break when they were in school? What unique thing did you do? And let me call on Sherry Blake for that one.
Thank you so much, Andy. You know, Andy felt to me like that teacher that well, the class that you love, but the teacher that always has the challenging questions. Because I remember last week, he challenged me. So when I saw that he was the table topic master again, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Professor Byrne. Okay. So the question is about my spring break.
Right.
You know, I never, even while in college, I never really traveled anywhere for spring break like a lot of people do, right? They're in college, they go to the Caribbean or they go to Miami Beach or somewhere to have a great time. I never experienced that. My spring breaks were about hopping on the bus or train and going back home and just enjoying my time away from professors like Professor Byrne here. Because, you know, it was just for me, just being able to go back home, spend time with family, enjoy the springtime. Usually it fell around Easter. And that's what I basically did. But today, to this day, I wish I would have at least tried one spring break away from home where I was traveling, possibly going somewhere nice, right? Hanging out with friends and just enjoying myself. But overall, I think spring breaks are good. And I hope everyone enjoys their spring. And possibly it'll be a break for you. Back to you.
Okay, fantastic. Many parents are approached by their kids and saying, spring break is coming up. Where are we going? What are we going to do? Andre, you have younger children. When they came to you and say, spring break is up or we have a break in school, what are we going to do? What was your answer?
What an excellent question, Andrew. Well, thank you very much for that. Yes, indeed. I do have two children. My son is 14 already. My daughter is 18. And sometimes they have very different interests. Perhaps my daughter more with boys, and my son just playing games, being on screens. But this year, we've decided to go to Prague because we haven't been to Prague yet. Is the capital of Czech Republic in Europe, if you didn't know. Highly recommended place. So we're getting a bunch of friends with us as well, similar age children, and a friend of mine. Well, the thing is, I'm teetotaler, so I don't drink alcohol at all. I think that might be a problem because you go into the capital of the world for all most famous beer. Is beer everywhere, non-alcoholic beer, dark, brown, all sorts. And I think I will have to, well, just do something about that. So when my children came up and asked what we're going to do this spring break, they already have an answer. And it's something that I really learned living in England, because the English, they plan their spring or summer holidays as soon as they come back. They plan it for the next year already, or even 2 years in advance. And then it just makes life easier because I live in Manchester, UK, and I'm Ukrainian. To me, planning a year holidays in advance was something that unheard of. However, now I'm more inclined of doing that because then you have a holidays planned, you know exactly what you're going to do, and it's booked. It's a peace of mind in a way. So, yeah, probably, well, we have a plan for this particular Easter break. Haven't got no major plans for summer, but when it comes to it, I'm sure I will come up with something. Because I'm a Toastmaster and a dad, and it helps. Back to you, Andrea.
Thank you. Carrie, are you willing to do a question?
Sure.
Okay. During this time of Easter break and school break, a lot of people do fun things like the Easter egg hunt. Did you ever have any experiences with that for either yourself or your kids, if you have any? Did you ever go on an Easter egg hunt? And if so, tell me about it.
I grew up, my name is Carrie. I grew up in a place where it was we were conservative Christian upbringing. And so with the conservative Christian upbringing, there was this paradox between the Easter bunny and then also the true meaning of Easter. So I remember, I think my mom kind of did it halfsies. Like she would set out eggs, maybe give us an Easter basket periodically, but we weren't too big into the whole Easter bunny situation. I do now though. I have kids periodically, foster kids that have potentially never had like an Easter egg hunt, and so when they haven't done these life events, then I try to find around our area places that they can go to search for Easter eggs just because I think it's important. I had a kid named Natasha last year, and so we went to a friend's house and they invited us over for Easter. I don't have family around here too, so I was pretty excited about that. And so she was able to, for the first time in her life, go on this Easter egg hunt. So it was pretty, I was glad that I was able to help give her a positive memory because she's had a pretty hard childhood. So with that, I will pass. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Well, during this time of year, we have the kids getting ready for their spring break. And we have parents getting ready for their vacations. But what about the teachers? What do the teachers do during this time? Do they get to go on a break as well? Let me ask Sunny about that. She's been a teacher. What happens when all your kids vacate and go on break?
During the times that my students have gone on break when I teach online, I usually have one course that begins in that at that time. So I'm like teaching two classes simultaneously. So I don't really get a break. But what I love to do during spring breaks is I teach public speaking at the local after school center in my neighborhood. It's actually less than a 2-minute walk actually to go there. And the kids seem to really enjoy it. And sometimes other schools from other students from surrounding schools get to do it. And it's an opportunity for me to just remind kids that their voices matter and that they matter. And they have fun while they're learning that. And I'll usually see them again at Christmas break to teach again. So while I don't take a break often, when I taught online for my Speak and Shine Academy, I usually had kids tell me where they went on their spring break. And I lived vicariously through them. And it was very much an edification to hear about New Zealand, or Disney World and how they enjoyed that. So even though I didn't get to go on a real spring break, I still had some spring break fun. And everybody needs some type of break. So maybe this year I won't do it as much as I used to, but I enjoy it very much. Back to you.
Who remembers the show, Do You Want to Be a Millionaire? What if somebody came up to you and say, have a wonderful vacation. I'm going to pay for it. You can tell me what kind of vacation you want to have. So Johnny, if you want to respond to that question as a guest, we'd be happy to hear from you. Someone's going to pay for your vacation. You get to create it. What kind of vacation do you want to have? Did you hear the question or you need me to repeat it?
So, is this for me?
Yes, that's for you. I'm sorry I butchered your name.
Thank you. Yeah, if somebody is going to sponsor me for a vacation, I would definitely like to visit Europe. Most of the parts of Europe, like Switzerland, Prague, which is the oldest city in the world. So definitely I would like to explore it. And my favorite will be Italy. I would definitely like to go there. Try different cuisines. My favorite is Italian dishes. So I would explore it. Yeah, I would do all this thing. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Normally you keep your eye out for the green sticker from the timer so you know that you've hit a minute. But great first opportunity. And Graham, I turn it over to you. Or I turn over to Annie, rather.
Thank you very much for our topics this afternoon. It's this evening for you people, this morning for me. I don't know what time it is. Let's have a look at the times. Yes, why don't we say everybody was in time? And why don't we also then send to Jim Barber the vote of who we thought gave the best table topic for this evening for the majority of you. It is now time for me to wind up what I'm saying, because I do believe the deputy principal is about to come in and he's going to oversee how everything has gone. He's going to evaluate us all, the teacher, the class, the principal, everybody. Jim, are you ready now to take on your general evaluator role for us all?
Indeed, I am, Madam Headmistress. My fellow Toastmasters and our future, I'm sorry. I thought somebody said something. Our future Toastmasters and guests. For the edification of anybody who might be watching the video and isn't familiar with Toastmasters, the next portion of our meeting is the evaluation portion, in which we will provide supportive and encouraging feedback to our speakers this evening. Our first speaker was Graham Cairns, and we're privileged to have as his evaluator, Krithika. Krithika, please. What did you think of Graham's speech?
Thank you, Jim. Before I get into the evaluation, I just wanted to have a quick check if I'm able to share something. Yes, I'm able to. Okay, yeah, here's my evaluation. Graham, you had an effective way of communicating your message. It was collaborative, comprehensive, and a little philosophical. You used your tone, voice, and pitch at the right pace, and your emotions were coming out exactly with the face expression of your delivery. You always excel generally in every speech as I have watched you, and this speech especially is also one of the best, I would say. Going into your speech, your coaching and carrying out as a coach, you started with the dash cam video input that you would watch with your wife. This was always an inclusive way of starting your speech, which is not related to the topic that you're going to deliver. The audience will always have an expression of what am I going to do or get out of the speech. And that's what you have started with your speech. And that exactly hit of delivering or starting your speech. You slowly migrated towards introducing us the universal view, the personal view, using Buddhist and Indians, as well as the good and bad of doing karma, the action, an important word that is used in Indian mythology and philosophy, which was quite evidently used in the part of bringing your presentation that is very much relevant to coaching. The story journal carried out like a mix of things, entering into the doors of our imagination, getting the idiotic memory into our minds when you spoke about the dashcam video, watching it, and the scenes that you wanted to narrate. This is a kind of nested loop story where one concept is taken and you wanted to enrich yourself with more of it that you wanted to awaken our thoughts by giving a concept of nested loop, which is exactly what I wanted to show you here. Though there has been good amount of impression about your speech, I just wanted to give few information which I would like to, which I noticed during your speech. One is the actions, including starting with the video cam story and the role of altruism, a difference between coaching and mentoring, which could be shown as a quite with a story into it. It was just a kind of documentary for me. It would be more interesting when I would like to see this as a story which is pitched in. On an overall, I can see your liberating statement, enlightened self-interest, has actually got into our minds, and this is what we wanted to take away, and you exactly did it. This was, and again, a wonderful, effective speech with a collaborative and comprehensive approach that you mentioned, that you have carried out in your speech. Over to you, Jim Baba.
Thank you, Kanika. All right. Our second speaker this evening was Joni, and we are privileged to have our past president, Marianne Grady, as her evaluator. Marianne, what did you observe?
Thank you, Jim. Joni, your speech, The Institutionalization of Education, was a perfect vehicle for your vocal variety project. You exclaimed, "Everybody's a genius!" I loved it, and it was a great attention getter. You gave us a Ralph Smedley quote, "We all learn in moments of enjoyment," and then went on to show us how we traded enjoyment for perfection. Education should spark curiosity, not compliance. And again, you added oodles of vocal variety. "I don't get it. Me. I know. And the bigger one, "Ms. Laidlaw, get out of my classroom." This could have been an opportunity for you to sum up your lessons learned, perhaps illustrate the gap between intention and interpretation. Your speech was extremely well organized and very easy to follow. Your gestures were appropriate, but not overly emphasized, and that was part of the project, so I might have liked to see a little more body language in your speech. Now, finally, your close. What are we teaching our children? You really made us think. And then you said prep meets practice. And then you had the repetition of "everyone is a genius." And I thought that just really tied your speech up with a bow. It was a perfect ending to it. Now, this was an excellent speech with a lot of things to think about. And I really appreciate that when someone forces me to kind of consider those kinds of things. So I like that. And the fact that you're pointing out that everybody's different and everybody learns differently. So I thought you did a great job tonight. And I want to thank you for your speech, Joni. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Marianne. Mr. Timer, how did our evaluators do?
Both evaluators qualifies.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Would you please cast your votes for your preferred evaluator, Krithika or Marianne? And while you are doing that, I will call on our various supporters of the meeting. For example, starting with Sherry. Sherry, you were our watcher this evening. What did you see?
Thank you so much. Well, I saw a mixed bag of backgrounds. So I saw the school-related backgrounds and the regular backgrounds. And I love it when we get into the theme of the meeting. So that was great to see. Everyone was attentive and engaged. And I like that our timer had his hand raised, making it very convenient to find him. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, Jim, Andre, and other members have been good at doing this, and I don't know how to do it. but I love when they put somebody right here on the side of them to show something that occurred. So what occurred that I wish, and I did take a screenshot, but I don't know how to put it here, is I love how Kurthika's hair was blowing in the wind. I loved it. I was ready for a photo shoot, but her hair was just blowing and it just looked wonderful. So I wish I could have put the picture here to show everyone. Now I know that Dr. Sunny taught me about and I don't know if I can do it in that particular tool, but I would love for someone to give a tip of the day to once again show us how to do that. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Sherry. And got distracted there because I wanted to make sure that my hair was blowing in the wind. Our chat monitor this evening was Dr. Sunny. Sunny, what did we do in the chat? You are muted.
There was so much going on today that I got a little confused about what I might want to choose from. There was such a smorgasbord, a lot of stuff about education and a lot of long posts. Graham Cairns talked about what he loved about teaching. I actually kicked it off. I have to laugh at myself. I almost forgot about the meeting. I was outside with the stump grinder in my backyard, and I think I breathed in a little bit too much today. My eyes itch, my nose, everything. But thank you, Graham. I put that in the post for stepping up for me. I appreciate that. And let's see what else we had that was interesting. Just long notes from Dr. Andrew Byrne. I think he should win an award for all of the information that he puts in the chat. And I didn't realize that. I don't even think I can show it. But, well, it does have it a little bit. He said a goldfish has a 6-second attention span, which is longer than ours. And I remember that. Sometimes I think that I thought they had about a 7-second attention span. And also, again, I talked a little bit about Graham. And yes, it's just he gave us a lot of good information. And I guess I would have to stretch it out for you to actually see it. But I do like the fact that he loved teaching since this theme was school days. So bravo to you, Graham. And please, if you'd like to catch a look at some of the great movies and other information that was put in the chat, click on those 3 dots and save the chat, because we have some great information in all sorts of educational and edifying ways. Back to you.
Thank you, Sunny. Or let's see, Marianne, you were not only an evaluator this evening, you were also our grammarian. So did we talk good?
We did, but I perhaps may have missed a few gems because I was writing my evaluation. So I apologize for that. But that word of the day, edification, was used frequently throughout the night. Annie said, school is a micro society. I had never thought about it like that. Allie said, can anyone not see my screen? Kind of doing a flip on the usual. Graham said, doing well by doing good. I like that. Enlightened self-interest, also very makes you think kind of quote. Joni said, everybody is a genius, and I'm saying it again, yes. And she used the word headstrong, which I liked very much. Sunny also used a good word, which was smorgasbord. Smorgasbord, back to you, general evaluator.
Thank you, Marianne. And finally, Joni, you were not only a speaker this evening, you were also the Wizard of Oz. What did you hear?
That we have magically improved our language, because I only saw one but thrown out there. Everybody else spoke really good today. We did not have a lot of ums and ers, which means great going, OP. Back to you, Jim.
Excellent. Thank you, Joni. All right. It is my opportunity while the vote counter, that's me, tallies up the votes. I'm also going to evaluate the meeting as a whole. I'm going to keep this short because we're running short on time. There is a children's game called Fruit Basket Turnover, which is basically an exercise in chaos. we had the opportunity to have a chaotic meeting because there were so many changes when we got started as to who was going to be present, what the roles were, anything like that. And I was impressed at how smoothly everybody just stepped into a role. When something was missing, somebody stepped into it. There was no quarreling. There was no wondering what was going on. It looked smooth. It looked like we actually had it planned. That is the sign of professionalism. So kudos to everybody here for doing such a great job. And that's about the only thing that I have to do. I'm going to call on the vote counter, but before I do that, I need to check a couple of votes here that came in. Okay. And okay, that is it then. Mr. Vote Counter, how did our votes do? Well, gee, Jen, since you asked, our best table topics presenter this evening was, drum roll please, Carrie. And our best evaluator this evening was, drum roll, Marianne. Our best speaker this evening, drum roll, was Graham. And with that, I return control to our Toastmaster of the evening, Annie Martin.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator and Votes Counter. You've been a busy man in the last half of our lesson, haven't you? It's been a great privilege to have you all in my class today. And schools are such important places for the rest of our lives and for future lives. I don't have a lot more to say about schools other than one day I will give lots of speeches about my time as the principal of a special school, and there was so much there that cannot be fitted into the last 1 minute that I have left. So I may leave it there and then hand back to our president of this wonderful club, Joni Laidlaw.
Thank you, Annie. And that opens the door for me to say, hey, opportunity to be Toastmaster of the day another time, maybe World Teachers Day, World Education Day, and then you can always let us know, or Special Needs Day, which already occurred, but guess what? It happens every year. So next year, we might already have an agenda item. Excellent taking us through. Loved your perspective on education. And I always like when we do a special topic and not one of those themes that we've heard a million times. So excellent job, everybody. Round of applause for Annie and taking us through. With that, I'm just going to remind everybody it's new season, time to renew. Looking forward to our speech-a-thon. We already have 4 people signed up. We have 6 slots, so only 2 remaining. Run in and grab yours. You know what to do, but I'll call on Graham after so we can discuss it. With that, I now adjourn our meeting.